Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic is going to be, how do I get rid of these negative neural connections? In other words, how do I get rid of the bad stuff that's kind of habitual and wired, right? So we'll get to that in a minute. My days have been getting away from me. It gets dark way too early. So we're shooting indoors again. Anyway, take a couple of nice deep breaths. Get yourself centered. Just feel safe. Breathe in the safety. Exhale the fear. Exhale the danger, right? So we talk a lot about neural connections, neural pathways, neuroplasticity, how the brain wires and rewires things. And, it becomes very clear that chronic pain is learned pain. It's neuroplastic pain. And it's these neural circuits that keep on firing just due to use, right? And so fear and focus and anxiety about the pain and the other symptoms, for anybody who's not dealing with pain. But fear, focus, and anxiety about these symptoms is what causes the brain to wire, right? And so I sometimes see some questions on the Facebook groups where people are saying, but how do I get rid of them once they're wired? Like, how do I disconnect them? Is there a way to cut those wires? And the answer is no, not directly. Because if we are going in and trying to remove the negative, we're focused on the negative. The brain has a tendency to wire those things that we're focused on. So if we're constantly hating on the pain, hating on the symptoms, being frustrated by it, fearing it, being desperate to fix it, working all day long, making it a full-time job to get rid of the pain, get rid of the symptoms, work. Same thing with anxiety too. Anxiety's got some neural connections that keep us in that anxious, fearful, stress response state. And the more we struggle to try to fix it, the more we're using those neural pathways. And so, the best way that I'm aware of to get rid of the old negative neural connections is to stop focusing on them, stop using them, focus on what you want. Because when you focus on what you want, your brain will start to wire those things. And I've used this analogy plenty of times. But look, pain is like a language. And I took 2 years of Spanish in high school. And throughout those 2 years, I struggled through it, but I learned a certain amount of proficiency, enough to pass the course in junior and senior year, and I was able to graduate because I passed it. Then I said, good, I don't have to speak Spanish anymore. Now, I didn't have to surgically remove Spanish from my brain. I just went on to college and I started focusing on my new coursework and whatever else I was learning. I was a musician at the time, I still am, and so I was studying music and becoming a better musician. I was chasing girls and, trying to have some fun in college, and that's where my attention and focus and mental and emotional energy was going, and my brain started wiring that stuff. And simply through the lack of use, Spanish kind of let itself go because I wasn't using it. The brain says, well, we don't need those neural pathways to be connected anymore, so let's let them go to allocate the resources more towards what is important and shift focus towards those things that I was putting all my mental and emotional energy and focus upon. And so we don't remove old negative, neural pathways and neural connections and neural circuitry by staring at them and saying, go away, go away. We literally turn our back on them. We focus on the things that we want, which is why an attitude of indifference is really powerful, because, like I said a minute ago, if you are staring at your pain or symptoms, desperate to avoid them, trying to evaluate what triggers them so you can stop doing that again, avoiding activities or social engagements or interpersonal contact with people because stress tends to fire up the pain and you avoid. First of all, your life's going to be this big. But all you're doing is placing all of your mental and emotional energy on the pain and the symptoms. And you're using those neural connections. You're using those neural pathways. They're not going to let go. That would be like me saying, I can't believe it. 10 years after graduating high school and finishing Spanish, I can't believe that I haven't been able to get rid of this Spanish language yet. But in the meanwhile, I've been speaking it every single day, all day long. Be kind of silly, right? When you look at it that way. So if you don't want to remember how to speak Spanish, don't speak it all day long. Put it out of your mind and focus on something else. If you don't want the pain to stick around, and we know it's TMS, this mind-body syndrome, which is essentially neuroplastic pain, it's remembered pain. If we don't want that to stay around any longer, we need to decide we're safe. We do that through accurate knowledge of what TMS is. We do the assessment so we know that's what applies to me. Then we send more messages of safety, that emotions are safe, which is kind of what probably started this whole mess in the first place, all this unfelt emotional energy that built up, and before you know it, we've got symptoms, and then we get medicalized, and we get dragged into all of the anxiety surrounding my body's broken, and we stare at, and we research, and we become desperate to fix and heal and end these symptoms and pains, and we're using those neural connections. They're wired, and as long as we use them, they're going to stay wired. So by using accurate knowledge and assessment, shifting your focus away from your pain and perhaps towards your emotions, shift your attention towards soothing yourself, teaching your nervous system to calm down. Calming down your thinking, because oftentimes our thinking and worries and freak out and hyper analysis and trying to figure it all out is what keeps us focused on the pain, which is going to keep us using those neural pathways, right? The attitude of indifference and shifting your attention back to living your life is really important, because it's saying to the brain, I don't need those pain pathways anymore. I'm focused over here on living life, joy, purpose, meaning, connection with others, productivity, something other than the pain. Because as long as we're staring at the pain all day long, it's probably not going to go away too quick, right? And so that's how we disconnect negative or perceived negative neural pathways. Remember, the brain is neutral. It doesn't care what we wire, but it will wire the thing that we place most of our attention upon. So you want to get rid of the pain. Stop making it your primary and most important focus. Make living your life and doing things you enjoy and bring you purpose and meaning, connection with others, make that more important than babysitting your pain and being desperate to eliminate it. And I say pain, but always tack on there and symptoms, because again, not everybody has just pain. And for anybody who thinks, yeah, but Dr. Sarno wrote about back pain, and everybody here has back pain, and that's so much easier because the books are written about it, but I have a different kind of pain, so I'm different, and I'm going to have much more trouble. My answer to you is not really, not necessarily. It's all the same stuff. And the neural pathways will wire any type of pain through attention focus. So fear, focus, and anxiety about any type of pain, any location in your body. It's all the same stuff. Why? Because it's all created in the brain. It just shows up in different parts of our body, and it doesn't even show up there. That's where we perceive the pain to be, and where we feel it. So I hope this makes sense for anybody trying to start to hyperanalyze, well, how do I disconnect the old neural pathways? We don't do it intentionally, but we do it intentionally by looking to create new ones and getting back to living life. And basically saying, we don't need those old neural pathways to be connected any longer. Now, one further point, sometimes they'll start to let go. Then what happens? We start going, wow, I've had a good 2 days. Boy, I hope that pain doesn't come back, and whammo, there it comes. Essentially, the neural pathways are going, we're not needed, but we're going to hang out back here for a little bit. But if you start fearing it and focusing on it again and worrying that something else might happen, they're going to connect again. So it does take consistency. It does take a little bit of time. And that, in my opinion, is why the recovery process is so up and down. It's so zig and zag, because you might feel better and then you'll feel worse. Then you'll feel a little bit better and then the pain will move somewhere else, or the symptoms will move somewhere else, or something else will happen. And it's kind of an up and down zig and zag. But the more consistently you can respond with, wow, TMS is kind of wild. Look at what it's doing today. No big deal, whatever. I'm going to shift my focus back to living my life. And for all the people who are in very desperate straits and their life is dramatically impacted by your symptoms or pains, I get it. And when I say live your life, you're going, but I don't have a life right now. All I have is my symptoms. I get it. And if you can't go out there and go for a jog or, do anything super fun or athletic, you can still choose your response. So if indifference and going back and living your life and doing everything you wish you could do is not possible yet, choose your response. You can either lay on the floor or the couch, freaking the heck out, catastrophizing about how horrible your life is and how horrible it always will be, and Dan doesn't understand because I don't have a life, so how can I go back to live it? Right? You can still choose your response. There's got to be something you can do that can bring you some joy, maybe put a smile on your face, even if it's just watching stupid cat videos on TV or the YouTube or whatever. There's always a choice that will bring you a little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more happiness and joy and smiles than sitting there stewing and brewing and ruminating on and fearing and focusing on and catastrophizing about your symptoms and pain and how screwed your life is because you're stuck in this damn body that's torturing you. But again, the process is the process is the process. The sooner you can learn to respond cool, calm, collected, soothe your nervous system, calm down your body, calm your thinking. Learn to become more and more indifferent. And if you can't be indifferent, at least choose not to freak out. Somewhere in between is way better than freaking out. Then shift your attention as much as possible to something that'll put a smile on your face. Right? That's really what I think we should do. And that is exactly how we break those connections, is by making living life, finding joy, doing what you can and making the best of it. Those are how we basically wire some new stuff and teach the brain that the old negative things are not really needed anymore. So I hope this makes sense. If you got questions, comment below. If you're new to my Facebook group or YouTube channel, you don't know what the heck I'm talking about with this chronic pain, go to painforyou.com. There's a video there that explains how pain starts, how it becomes chronic. The whole concept is that your body is not broken. So go check it out. Love you guys and gals. We will see you tomorrow. Take care.